Good evening. Welcome to you all for the Community and Social Development Committee for the 18th of October. Right, first of all, shall we have apologies? I've got an apology from Pam Erasmus.
Yep, we've got Councillor Will Thomas and Councillor Francesca. I've forgotten her surname. O'Brien.
O'Brien, Francesca O'Brien, yes.
Yes, lovely.
That's same for that's the two I have as well, yeah.
Yeah, thank you. Any declarations of interest? No, okay, I'm moving on. Sliding into the third. Minutes of the previous meeting of the committee. Has anyone had a look at them? Have we had a look at them? Can I get them passed? Anyone put it? Oh, Tim's a look of interest there. Any seconder for that? Phil? No? He's talking, he's got his thing on, so I can't tell. Can I get anyone else to second that so we can move on? There we are, Phil. Okay, thank you. Outstanding actions from September's meeting. Slip to the other piece of paper. Well, I've got down here CSO to write to both Ian Thomas and Jonathan Atkins.
Shall I give you an update, Chair?
Thank you, Ian. Yeah,
right, right, I emailed both. I'm looking at a different screen, so apologies for this. I emailed both on the 27th of the 9th. I had no reply from either. I then obtained mobile numbers. I left a voicemail message with Mr. Atkins on the 11th of October. He hasn't got back to me.
Yeah.
I spoke to Ian Thomas on the same day, the 11th of October. He was under the impression that his contribution was in relation to the skate park, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
And I said, well, you've been invited on if you'd like to. He said, well, I'll do it on an ad hoc basis. So I have emailed him about today and given him the link in case he wanted to come. And he obviously hasn't joined us or got back to me, but I don't think he's going to be participating much for your, that's my assessment.
No, I think it will be very much ad hoc. Rian, to speak? Rian? No?
Sorry, Chair. Sorry, what did you want me to speak about?
Oh, sorry, I thought you'd put your hand up.
No.
Okay,
No,
okay.
not me.
Yeah, I
Okay.
had a feeling with both Tom Scand and Jono that as soon as the skate park was built and it was up and running, their job was done. I don't think they have much interest now in this. I think if we were going to build another skate park, they would be willing to offer support, but unless that happened, I think that's fine. We asked them, they said no, so that we'll move on from there. The next thing on this list is RFO to write to relevant water company responsible for the installation, maintenance of the water fountain at Mumbles Skate Park.
I've got an update, Chair, when you're ready.
Fab.
Yes, Paul's emailed me, and I quote, Lydia and Martin are to check the installation of the water bottle filter and report back. Please keep this action live until next month.
Okay, thank you. Terry?
Just come in there, Chair. I've actually managed to find a contact in Welsh Water that deals with installations of water fountains. So I have actually emailed him and asked him when this one will be connected. I haven't yet had a response, but I will chase him because I've got a dedicated email address for somebody.
Absolutely brilliant. Thank you. Thank you for that. So that sounds like something could happen there. Moving on. CSO to arrange a committee meeting at the earliest opportunity with the clerk with the intention of discussing the Langland tennis court issues as the sole item of agenda.
Right, if I do this one again. The meeting was arranged for the 3rd of October. It didn't go ahead because it was quorate. However, all the issues connected to Langland tennis court were resolved at the full council meeting on the 10th of October.
Okay. So So as for the meeting, so we'll arrange another meeting.
No, it was dealt with at full
It
council.
was, so we don't need to have.
No,
another
that's
meeting,
finished.
we
That's
can just
complete
move
now.
on. Okay, that's great. God, it seems really strange to say that about Langland tennis courts. Oh, that's okay, fine. Moving on. Yes. Okay. The clerk should write to SEC requesting an update on the community asset transfer in relation to the £5,000 approved for Mumbles Bowls Club.
Yes. So I have wrote to them. I wrote to the gentleman that I believe was the asset, the transfer officer, and I didn't hear back from him. So I actually emailed his boss and said, please can I have an update on this? His boss come back to me and said that the person I've originally emailed should update me, and I still haven't had anything. So I've emailed them both again today to say I need an update on this, and I'll chase again next week if I don't hear from them until I get an answer.
Great, that's great. Keep it up, Kerry. We could get the Bowls Club in the end. They promised it to us for so long. Okay.
Ian Canada.
Yeah.
Oh, Ian. Yes, sorry.
You know, the matter, this arrived because of the £5,000 that was sitting in the budget, and it had been allocated for certain remedial works if it was considered necessary. But following, I think it was at full council, it was decided that the RFO would go out for procurement for a survey to be done, A, on the Bowls Pavilion, and B, on the other building down there. Now, this community asset transfer has been in the pipeline since about 2014, I think it is. It's absolutely scandalous. You know, it goes beyond belief. And, you know, how the city council can dismiss this matter when we're trying to, you know, improve the facilities that are there. You know, we pay money for the maintenance of the Bowls Green, and you know, if it was decided that we get the community asset transfer, we can then do something with it, and it would be a very handy amenity to use for any number of things, not only for the council, but also for the community. But it to be hanging in limbo is unforgivable, to be honest.
Yeah, I don't think they do it purposely, Ian. I just
Pardon?
think that I don't think they do it purposely. I just think that they've got so much on their plate. They put us to the back of the queue. But you're right. It's been going on for far too long, and we could have done wonders by now.
It's taking years, for goodness sake. It's
Well,
you know,
look at the
it's
skate
shocking.
park.
It's
Yeah.
shocking.
Okay, but it's worth pushing to get it sorted. So let's hope we do. The clerk, as a member of Underhill Working Group, established the feasibility of installing basketball facilities in Underhill Park. I didn't.
Right. Yeah, no, I haven't done this one as of yet, just due to the sensitive nature of what is going on with Underhill at the moment and the tier 3 pitch. I don't want to really give them any more ammunition to say, oh, well, if you want to put basketball in, you can't put your tier 3 stand in. So I'm going to hold off on that one for a little while, but I will once we've got to the bottom of a couple of things. There are a few things working in the background, and once we've got to the bottom of them, hopefully we'll be able to bring an update to full council as well. So yeah.
Okay. I didn't even know that was happening, so that's great. Okay. The clerk writes to SEC with a view to MCC taking over responsibility of the running of the tennis court number 4 at Langland. Another ongoing.
Yeah, I've done this and I've had a response, and I will read you the response now if you like. So the response was, as far as the 4th tennis court at Langland is concerned, no decision has been made on the future of the site. Hopefully we'll have some direction following the upcoming discussions at STC, and that's all I've had back from them.
Okay, thank you. Bill, did you gesture then? No, okay. Right. Let's see. Right, Tim, you're up. to research the options for the outside five-a-side football within MCC area. Phil, Tim?
Yeah, I don't think it was the site as such. It was more of an idea whether it's kind of interesting idea for us to consider to go any forward. I sent some slides to Ian. Ian, could you please?
I put them on
screen?
they're on the files. They are under the files.
I'm not sure how to share.
Do you want me to share them?
Please, Kerry.
Okay.
They were sent on the 12th.
Yeah, bear with me. Ian, I think you're gonna have to let me share screen.
Oh, sorry,
no,
yeah.
there you go. I've got it. No, I've got it.
Okay, thank you.
Right. Can you all see that one?
Yeah, we can.
Yeah,
I
thank
Okay.
you. Kerry, can you just click through can you click to the second slide, please?
Yeah.
Thank you. So really it is just, very idea that I had is because my campus has 2 pitches, five-a-side football pitches, and then I took some pictures around the area. So you can see one is outside, behind the fence, and another is kind of a picture through the fence to show you that isn't that different from any other five-a-side pitches, but apparently outdoor one, I think that they are the only outdoor ones in Swansea, based on my research. Kerry, can you click to the third slide, please? Thank you. So two groups of users. One are obviously students of the university, whether they are on campus or on Singleton campus, both can use that without any problems. But they have to join a league. It's a kind of student society. So they pay £120 per semester. There are 10 games, 12 teams. The pitch is also available for a football league that is kind of in Swansea. So they pay £32 per game. So that I put some links there if you wish to just look further. And each game is roughly an hour, so it's 5 minutes warm up and 20 minutes first half and 10 minutes break, then another 20 minutes for the second half to finish. So it's roughly 1 hour. And Kerry, can you click to the fourth slide, please? Thank you. And the cost, obviously, it's not that recent. So, but here we are. We can have some ideas. In 2018, the figures quoted, the surface is £25,000. Then you have £600 for goals, and then boards and netting £7,000, and lighting £2,800. So £35,000 for £400. But that's 6 years ago. You might consider to look at the figure again. Could be doubled. I don't know. Then last slide, please. Thank you. And some little things that you cannot ignore. Swansea University provides general maintenance of the courts, including cleaning. They regularly remove sand from the surface because the campus is very close to the beach, so you do get sand blown out to the pitches. Then that isn't ideal for the game, I suppose. It's not safe. And then most of the games play in the evenings. And another point I forgot to mention is because they are on campus, Swansea University obviously offers changing rooms, toilets, and also these facilities have electric gates that need to be centrally controlled by the sports team. So the students will go to the sports center in order to check in, then they get changed, then go to the court to play. So they have some, I suppose they have some CCTV there as well in order to monitor the actions, in order to control the flow of the users. So yeah, that's all I can think of. Thank you very much.
Oh, thanks, Tim. Would you visualize, Tim, this happening on like the fourth tennis court in Langland, or where else would it go? I was just thinking if you wanted something that was actually to be paid for, be quite.
I haven't thought about Langland, because Langland has been quite. Langland has been a place that we haven't really managed to get everything right yet. So I don't think it's a good idea to put another such a facility there in order to just introduce more users. So I don't have any idea yet really where's the best place for that, and also whether we also need to consider, do we need to offer changing rooms and facility like toilets as well, because they're not like skateboarding, because it's quite intense. The games can be quite intense. Also in winter, you do take off your coats and sweat a lot. So I'm not sure, whether these will be very important for
You'd think
players.
It would be Underhill, which would be the place.
Yeah, Underhill, I don't think they have 5-a-side.
No.
It's a much bigger site for football. But whether they have appetite for that, I don't know.
Okay. Yeah, Ian.
I live literally 20 yards from Underhill, and it's quite apparent they've got 3 5-a-side pitches there. They've got the big goals for the full pitch, but they have got 3 or 4. I think it's 4 sets of 5-a-side goals as well there.
Okay.
Ian, can they use those freely, or do they have to pay?
I think it's all paid for. It starts. I was speaking to them today. It's starting in a week's time. They're hoping it'll start in a week's time. So I can happily sort of make some more inquiries if you want me to.
Okay, I think it's Rian first, then Phil. Rian.
Yeah, thanks, Chair. I love the idea of 5-a-side football, because, whenever I talk to, slightly older kids in the neighbourhood who possibly might be going down the wrong path in life, they mention football posts, that's what they want. I was just wondering what's happening with the tennis courts, the old tennis courts in Oystermouth, next to Oyster Wharf.
Oh, your guess is as good as mine. Can I move on to Phil, and we'll get back to that one, Ian? Phil?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think everybody wants the answer to that one, really.
Okay. Nobody
knows.
Yeah,
I again, football wise, it's not my strong point. But I mean, they have fantastic facilities in Swansea, up just off Llangollen Road. I think the company that runs the site is called Pure Football, which sort of specializes in academies and 5-a-side, 6-a-side football up there. They've got a little gym and all sorts there. It was just behind the old Mynydd Bach school, but we don't have similar facilities down this neck of the woods until we've had Underhill built. The next nearest pitch being up in Bishopston. And I don't know whether that's particularly used for 5-a-side. But yeah, it's in terms of outdoor, I'm just scratching my head as to think where we've got a spot of land big enough to do anything more. But if Underhill is going to be filling that void, is this
That's free?
Well, no, I mean leagues always take there's organizing a league, generally speaking, means subs. you know, that's par for the course, as it were. And I think thanks, Tim, for including all the information about that, because it sets it out really nicely in terms of, you know, what people would have to pay to, you know, to participate, as it were. But the infrastructure itself, of course, you can see how much has gone into the work at Underhill to get that pitch, the additional pitch, as it were, the 3G one. So the question is are we going to make do, I suppose, or is this something that we want to see more of? Bearing in mind we've got pitches going up at Ashley Road at the moment, or Sketty Lane at the moment as well.
I don't know, I might have the wrong end of the stick, but I think what Rian is aiming at, and I know I am, is to find somewhere where kids can go freely to have a kickabout and not have to pay. We did try to put football nets in the other end of Fairwood Park, but they said because the ground was uneven there, they could. Well, there we are. Tim was involved with that. Yeah. Yeah. No. Yeah. Chris Evans, the councillor there, asked, but we'd asked before, and they said no, even though there were football nets there previously. So yes, it's a bit upsetting. But no, I don't know what's happening with the courts in Oystermouth, tennis courts, Rian. I will ask.
Thanks, Chair. I'm sorry, I'll come in again briefly. Yeah. You know, and I'm sure I'm preaching to the choir here. You know, because there is a, you know, I mean, it's, you know, it's a common known fact that the major drugs problem with kids in Mumbles, and I just think, you know, whenever I speak to teenagers, young teenagers, that's what they want. And you know, if we could possibly provide, I don't know how, you know, but you know, some sort of five-side football or you know, goalposts, you know, it might contribute to the you know, solution of kids not having anything else to do. And you know, I respect what you say, Phil, but I think Ashley Road, you know, could we possibly bring it a bit more local, you know, where kids are, you know, given an alternative to, you know, I mean, heroin has been mentioned to me by quite a few people. So it's not just smoking weed, you know, there is a problem in Mumbles with kids taking drugs. I'm sure you all know this. I'm not, you know, I'm not saying anything that's not, you know, known, but I just think that we need to target the older, younger people, if you like.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. It's always been my chief concern is to, when children get to the age of 12 or so, when they go into comprehensive, that's a danger point where we've got to keep them exercising, keep them busy, keep them communicating with other kids and having a joint thing to do, which is what was behind the skate park. And you know, we've got a name for ourselves, MTC, to keep this ball rolling. Excuse the pun. See what I did there. So yeah, we need to find other things they can do. Okay, anyone else?
Thank you.
Ian's got his hand up.
Oh, Ian, sorry.
Yes, thank you, Chair. West Cross Community Centre, indoor. Grange School, the yard, £70,000 was spent on the yard there. It's got an indoor gym, stroke hall in the school. West Cross Youth Club, you know, we've guaranteed them £15,000 in the next 3 years. I don't know what size the Linden Hall is. I don't know if that's large enough. I've never been in there. And of course, there is the green at Alderwood Road. So I don't see why, you know, some of those couldn't be looked at or explored. The other schools currently, well, they don't have a building or a hall large enough in Newton to hold it. No. Oystermouth School has got a large hall there, but again, there's been no investment by City in that building at all. It's just it's a hideous looking block. So I think we could look at something nearer to home. Well done, Tim, for finding out that information. I think the quotation from 2018 is nowhere near the parameters what things cost today, I'm afraid. But well done for that.
The only 1 second, Phil, can I just come in quickly before you do? Sorry, I'm taking advantage here, being chair. Apologies. We did consider putting in a mugger, full-size mugger, down by the skate park, because that might work for basketball and football five-a-side. And it's so nice at the moment with people going there playing. It seems a good place to go, but we'd have to do a lot of research and we'd have to be careful of the saturation level of that area. But it would be a nice, safe place for them to go and a good environment. Sorry, Phil, you saying, and then Ian. So.
Yeah, I just to come back on what you were saying there. So the drainage issues at the next to the skate park would probably be very difficult to overcome. Having said that, and I just throw this out here, Ian's raised a good point about the schools, and I mean, there are several primary schools in the area, all with playing fields, some of which are shared already between schools. And the question is that actually, if there was a way of being able to ensure access for the schools during the daytime, but then ensure that the schools were secure, so that access outside of school hours was accessible to the public, would there be a deal to be done with City and County of Swansea there to be able to actually use those facilities out of school time, as it were? I mean, that's complicated, but
I know
but I think you know we do have a small sports hall in the West Cross Community Centre. It's enough to play indoor tennis or short tennis, basketball, netball. I'm not too sure whether it's actually big enough for a full five-a-side, but certainly plenty of the younger ones, the children, use it for football training. But Ian makes the point that obviously, you know, there are facilities around and green spaces that could be utilised. Thanks.
Okay, Ian. No. Okay. Yeah. I do know that the schools I'm a governor to have said that they've had terrible problems with people coming in onto their greens at night and leaving all sorts of horrendous litter of the worst type. And I don't think they'd be too impressed. I think they're a bit concerned now about leaving people on. They thought they could, but it's difficult, which is frustrating. Anyway, what are we on to now? Let's see. CSO to write to all councillors seeking suitable locations for activities such as basketball or fire. Well, we've gone through that, haven't we, really?
Okay.
Yeah. RFO to send out budget proposal forms to committee members.
Yeah, Chair, I can do that one as well. Paul sent them out to all the councillors on the 27th of September. So that's complete.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Can I do the last one as well?
Yes, go for it, Ian. Go for it.
On a roll. I met with yourself and Pam when we set the agenda on the 11th, and we agreed that the December committee meeting will be on the 6th of December.
Right. Yes, we did. Okay, that's fine. Okay. Yes,
and that's the last action.
fine. That's it. Is there anything else you have a burning desire to talk about? The community and social? Oh, Tim, there we go.
just say something after my own research on that. I mean, I also I mean, obviously it's a different environment, different time, different era. But we had to improvise. We had to improvise to find a place to play five-a-side, and then we invaded some basketball courts to play when there were no basketball players, because football was more popular than basketball, at least for us. So it was not too pleasant because the surface is harder, but on the other hand, it was still all right. It was still all right. That's all I can think of my own experience.
Yeah.
But I do agree with Rian that I think it was important for us to go somewhere during the weekend to burn some energy and do something. It was very important social thing to do. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Tim. Okay.
Ian's got his hand up again.
Oh, Ian.
You're on mute, Ian.
You're on mute, Ian.
I was just wondering if we should be making an action point on this matter of the five-a-side football, or was it just a wishful thinking? I think it ought to be pursued. I think we should approach City Council and the West Cross Community Centre. We should approach it on the Grange School, find out if something can be done on the green at Alderwood Road. Focusing in on the tennis court at Oystermouth, there's going to be over a year of work before anything ever happens there. So goodness knows what City will come up with there. And, a lot depends on the age group that you're trying to pander to. Maybe it's something that can be done via the youth club at West Cross. Also bear in mind that the schools, the community is paying into the Education Authority via the precept, and with their community charges and everything else. It seems so short-sighted that these facilities can't be used. When the Grange School application came in for a grant, I think we gave them about £20,000 or £25,000. Initially, they were asking for £70,000. That was then paid for by City. And of course, the other thing was, it was said that the yard would be available to the community for community use. But that's not the case, because City won't provide any insurance for that sort of thing. So
can I come back there? Sorry, Ian. Also, because we didn't give them the money to actually put the fencing around the actual yard, so it wouldn't be safe to do as a.
No, we did. I beg your pardon. We did pay for metre-high fencing to enclose the actual yard for playing ball games, so that the ball didn't go outside of the yard area. Of course, unless it happened to be kicked over a metre high. But, there's absolutely no way. And there was never, ever mentioned in the grant that there was going to be 6-foot high fencing going around the yard.
Yeah.
That wasn't mentioned. That wasn't part of the grant.
No, I think their feeling is that they can't actually secure it enough. It was always going to be a problem with the schoolyard. That was always going to be the problem, wasn't it?
Well, why did we spend £25,000 there then if it can't be used?
Well, the children are using
that's a fact that didn't come out before.
No.
And this is why we're looking at the grants policy, and we're hopefully our clerk is going to do a review on it with my able assistance and with Councillor Townsend Jones has put herself forward for it as well. Yeah. But it seems sad, really, that these facilities cannot be used. You know, they're there. Why do we have to go out and find more land? The land is there. The pitch is there. There's been a football pitch at Grange School since the 70s.
Yeah,
maybe
it's
before
usually
that.
underwater this time of the year, though, in
You
all
know,
fairness.
and that's all fenced in, to my knowledge.
Yeah, well, not fenced in that much because the kids get into it every night, so they do use it.
Well, with respect, you know, it's not a prison we're designing.
No,
You know, it's
no.
meant to be. You know, if there are issues with the community, well, we have to bring the PCSOs in.
Yeah.
You know, we have to bring the police in. We have to look at it. But you cannot say there is nothing for people to do or there aren't suitable facilities. There are some that could be, I'm not saying they are, but they could be possibly used. Now, if council, city council say, no, well, all right, you have to look at it a different way. But when we start thinking about putting another facility alongside the skate park, I'm sorry, I haven't got the appetite for that. And I
No.
don't think Mumbles would have the appetite for that either. You know, the water table there is a problem. You know,
Yes, I agree.
and anyway, this is why we've invested in Underhill, you know, but you know,
But
somebody's going to have to pay
Underhill-
for it. It's as simple as that.
Underhill, I
Not
think, as
everyone can
Ian
have
pointed-
everything for nothing.
Yeah, no, as Ian pointed out, though, Underhill is paid for. You have to pay for it. And what we're looking for as a community council is activities that kids don't need the money in their pockets to go out and play. And that's the gold standard, isn't it?
Well,
Yeah,
sorry, Phil.
if I may, Chair, again, you know, I don't want to sorry, I don't want to repeat what I said earlier. Ian makes the point. To have public access to, for example, the joint playing field for Llanderugh and Grange. And I assume that's the one you're talking about, the detritus being left on and being used out of school hours. I mean, to actually make that a not 24-hour, but obviously a usable public facility while still using, while still allowing it to be utilised by the schools. We'd be looking at perhaps different entry points, you know, dual gating, so you can have a sort of Jack and Jill gates for the schools and the general public. To make it usable during the winter months, you'd need to put in lighting there. You'd need to have someone. You need to have someone to open up and close it off in the evening. There are all these sorts of things. Now, all of these sorts of things are doable in theory. But again, Ian uses a very good phrase there, is whether people have got the appetite, be they in the city and county of Swansea, in the school, in the community, whether everyone has the appetite to do this, and whether we could actually move forward and be able to find some way of getting funding, or you know, across, you know, the multiple stakeholders to be able to do such a project. But yeah, there's playing fields at Males, Whitestone, Llanderugh and Grange, all of which are under city and education. But it's just finding the right place to be able to literally open up the gates and make sure that it's well managed.
And it also boils down to insurance as well. That's what the schools are hit with. If anything happened to some youngster that goes into play after, you're responsible. The school's insurance has to cover if somebody broke their leg or whatever.
But what I would, as we know from the skate park, if these are purposed for the school during the day and they are purposed as a park during the evening, I don't see any issue with something being able to be duly purposed, as it were. I mean, you know, then as a park, it's a use at your own risk situation.
Well, maybe
Um,
we have to push back at that then and actually ask those questions and say, what exactly do you mean by this? And the same with therefore, the putting in football
Yeah.
net down at Fairwood, the same thing. Just because the
Yeah.
ground's uneven, does that mean that it can't be covered? Or is that just an easy answer?
Mm.
Oh, Kerry.
Shall I take that action to make some inquiries on different places, and then I have just emailed Tim to see if he is keen to have some of the budget for next year allocated to a scheme, and if he does, then just to say put your budget proposal form in, and I'm happy to work with you to get the details on that form if you need to be, but I'm happy to take that action forward and bring it back to the committee once we've investigated all the areas you've just mentioned, and then you can make an informed choice and or decide which way you're going to go instead of going round and round discussing
in
all the
circles, yeah.
possible areas. Yeah.
That would be great, Kerry. I'll just add that to your ever increasing workload. Thank you.
That's okay.
Is there anything else we need to discuss?
Going back to the agenda, Chair, are we?
Oh, agenda. Sorry.
Which would be
Hang on.
budget, or
Budget.
are there more reports? Budget monitoring report.
Budget monitoring report. Yes. Ian, do you want to go with this? Or is it? There's nothing to come out right now, is there?
We need to review it, Chair.
Yeah.
Let me have a look. Let me see now if there's a
I've got no figures in front of me.
let me just have a look. I'm just going to see if I've got anything on the not that one. I don't know. Did yeah, there we go. Right, I'll share my screen for you again. This was circulated in your packs. I hope you can all see that.
Yep.
Zoom in, Kerry.
Can I zoom in on this? Yeah. Look. Oh, okay. Zoom in. How's that?
Fine.
There we go. Thank you.
Okay. So it's just obviously your budget monitoring report up until the 31st of August 2023 that Paul has put for you. Obviously it says your expenditure, your income and your net actual to the 31st of August. You've got your year-end adjustment, your actual budget for the year, and then your net position on the budget that Paul has put in for you there. So I will happy to take any questions. If I can answer them, I will. If not, I will get Paul to email you all answers tomorrow.
Yeah. Anyone?
Yes. I did ask Paul a question about the skate park position last month, which appears to be, is that an under or an over there?
At the end, net position looks like it's under.
Right.
It's got a minus 44,630, but I can clarify that with him for you tomorrow, Phil.
Lovely, thank you.
Okay.
Anybody else?
No, it all seems fine.
Okay, so you it's just for noting then, I'm guessing.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
fine.
Okay, I'll stop sharing.
Were there
Okay.
spends that we had to? They'll be dealt with by council, won't they, Kerry?
They will, yeah. Yeah.
Okay, that's fine.
Okay. So we've got budget. I take it we've gone through that. Ian spoke about the budget.
Budget 24-25. Sorry, Chair.
Yeah. What do we need to say about that? Oh, yes, Phil. Sorry, Phil. Or maybe
sorry.
Ian.
Yeah, I mean, I just wanted to come in. There was a couple of ideas that I've been floating around. I've yet to put pen to paper on them, but I've mentioned one sort of, but I'll mention it now, unless anybody else has got burning information for the budget. But one of the proposal that I wanted to put forward, and Kerry, you know, I've got the form and I will get round to it, is a project which I think would fall very nicely under community and social, to do with making Mumbles a Lego building community. Lego is a much loved toy, but also it's very useful across the board in all sorts of settings, both in terms of mindfulness and play. It's cross-generational. I mean, I myself have got Lego pieces that are older than me. It can't be recycled unless you actually reuse it. So in terms of, there's an awful lot of Lego probably in landfill already, thanks to many people's vacuum cleaners over the years. And basically my proposal is that we set up a project over a few years to basically collect unwanted Lego and basically start small clubs and possibly a Lego library that the schools can tap into, the local schools can tap into. In fact, any club could tap into, and actually provide an opportunity for a different kind of constructive play, if you like, at our events, be they in the Ostream or Newton or West Cross or after school clubs or youth clubs or whatever. That's actually people who wanted to sit and chat, play quietly, have something to do with their hands, of a constructive nature. That's actually a Mumbles could be a sort of a centre for that.
Oh, thank you.
So
Yes.
yeah, I'm
Literally a
gonna
constructive
bring that forward as a proposal for next year.
Sounds good.
Yeah,
There we are.
sounds like a good idea.
Was it? Yeah. Sorry, I just hijacked. Was there anything else for the budget there? Sorry, Ian.
I think it was Ian then. Right. Yes, Ian.
Chair, that's all I'm not speaking out of turn, but I think the last few meetings I've been to, Paul's emphasised, I'm sure Kerry will correct me if I'm wrong, that these proposals do need to be in ideally by the November committee meeting. I thought it might be worth emphasising that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think what obviously I wasn't in the budget setting meeting when this budget item was brought forward for discussion. To my mind, I think you need to be looking at what is in your current budget this year, and what items you'd likely to want to put aside from the budget proposals. Do you have items in this budget which you have in every year? Do you want them to stay the same? Do you want to decrease them? Do you want to increase them? Are there items that you think should be included in this budget that you haven't had in there before, i.e. like the Lego? Then that would be a budget proposal. I'm just gonna find because we had a budget timetable that went to full council on the 9th, and that said in there, I think, when the forms needed to be back with Paul by. Let me just have a look.
Kerry, sorry to jump in, Chair. Did you want us to actually run through the budget as it stands at the moment and just have that brief discussion?
Do we need to do that?
Right.
I mean, we've got the November meeting obviously as well. I'm just.
Yeah. So I think what you need to do, looking at the budget timetable, obviously is firm up who's going to put in budget proposals, whether you're going to have one from Tim for the 5-a-side for some sort of funding, in the budget for that, whether you're going to have one for Phil as well. And then in the November committee meeting, we bring those budget proposals to the meeting, and you agree which ones you're going to recommend to full council. Once you've agreed them in your committee, all the forms then need to be with Paul by the 30th of November. Okay, so that basically what I think I will do in the November meeting is ask Paul to come to the November meeting, so we can go through the budget, and you guys can have the discussion about where you want to be with your budget for next year, and then agree which budget proposals you're going to take forward and what that looks like to your budget this year, if that makes sense. So how much do you want? Because I know in the budget proposal you've got the Puffin Crossing for this year. You've got the Puffin Crossing in. Is that a project that's still going to go ahead? Is that something that's not going to go ahead?
It's been and done.
Yep. So what it's gone. So what's happening with that 25,000? Has that been paid out? Has it not been paid out? You know, are you going to ring fence it? Are you going to earmark it for something else?
That's been completed.
It's been
Yes, it's been
completed.
completed.
Okay.
Whether or not
So
they
these
get the money
are
up.
just the things you need to be considering really for when you're looking at your budget meeting.
I don't want
let me
to put
get-
another one in.
Oh,
let me have a look. Yeah, okay. So that's just the type of thing that you should be discussing ready for your next meeting.
Yeah, you're quite right. If I could just come in, please. We've had our finance meeting, and there were certain decisions made there, and they were taking into account the Austrian proposals, and council will be asked to ratify £250,000 to put forward for the Austrian building, and it is hoped that that will be used then to cross-match funding from other parties. Now, bearing in mind, you know, that's one heck of a lot of money, and you know, people's aspirations are commendable, but you know, I'm a great believer in perhaps because of, you know, this is the next big flagship that we're chasing now, the Austrian. You know, I think people have to realize that certain costs are going to have to be trimmed to enable, you know, this Austrian project to go ahead. It's just information for you, that's all.
Okay. Right, Phil.
Yeah, Chair, I was just going to suggest that we just very briefly run through that monitoring report, because there are a number of lines there, just looking at the titles, and just, you know, ask if anybody wants to make a comment on those, or just remind us. We've already all looked at it, but is there an appetite for that in the meeting, just to run through all of that?
Well, we're
would you?
getting to 7:25, Phil, and we've got a few other things to get through. Do we need to, Kerry? What do you think?
It's entirely up to you guys. You are going to have this again on your agenda in November when you're going to be discussing your proposals then. So what I would suggest then is that you keep the agenda quite short for the November meeting and focus it mainly on the budget. And then you'd have the opportunity to go through each one line by line and decide how much you want to put in for next year, whether you want to take that item out, whether you need to add, you know, type of thing. That's what I would suggest to you. But again, it's down to what you want to do as a committee.
Okay.
In that case, Chair, I withdraw my my remark, and I say to move on.
Yes.
You know, next
There's
item,
only so much
please.
budget any of us can cope with. Okay, so Underhill Park update. Anything to say, Ian?
Oh,
No?
sorry.
Yeah.
No, there's perhaps Kerry could. There has been a a group, a steering group or a working group created, and I think they met. Am I correct in saying they met on the 10th of October or the 12th of October, Kerry? Is that right?
That's the Off-Street working group. So
Oh,
the
sorry.
Underhill,
God.
it's okay. The
Yeah.
Underhill working group was already established when I joined,
Yes.
and that consists of Ian, Carrie, Will, Paul, and myself. There have been various emails going back and forth. You'll recall in not the last council meeting, but the council meeting in September, it was approved for me to have £2,000 to go and get some drawings done by Hugh Griffiths. Unfortunately, Hugh Griffiths is being quite slow with his responses and we're having to chase him quite a bit. But there's also some additional information that we're waiting for that our drainage engineer has asked for as well, which obviously I've emailed out to MCA today to ask them to answer it. Whether they will answer it, I honestly do not know, because every time we've asked for a meeting with them and the other groups, we've been battered off, so to speak. They did email the other week and ask for a meeting between ourselves and Cricket. We replied saying that we wanted the meeting to be open and transparent and therefore felt that the other users of the park should be invited to that meeting as well. That wasn't received very well by them, and they just come back to me saying, well, you've got the contact details there now for the Cricket users, it's down to you to do what you wish. I'm not going to say any more than that because obviously this is a public meeting and it's being recorded, but there will hopefully be an update coming to full council as soon as I can. Obviously I'll update the working group members first and then that update will come to full council as soon as possible, but there are workings going on in the background at the moment. It's just relying on other people to get back to me.
Thanks for your persistence, Kerry, with us. Okay, moving straight on to the Langland tennis courts update. Have we got anything else to add to what we've already spoken about? No.
Nothing to add to that.
Okay, Mumble Skate Park update. Now this is for the steering group, which I'm on, Kerry's on. Ian.
Yeah, thanks, Chair. With regard to the Langland tennis courts, there's over £50,000 in the budget for the fencing. Has there been any progress on that?
Not as yet, Ian, but what we're looking to do now that we've agreed to move forward with the gate system, we're hoping that we can get some assistance from Tennis Wales with regards to contractors who would want to come and do that work for us, because I think what happened was Paul approached a company prior to myself starting and the quote came back over our tendering threshold. So it would have to be a tendering process, and that just depends whether it's going to be a tendering process we do ourselves or whether we're going to appoint somebody to manage that tendering process for us. But what we were struggling to do was to find other companies who specialise in that type of work. So now that we've agreed the grant with the Tennis Wales, we're hoping they'll be able to put us in touch with more contractors for that work.
Well, let's hope we can make some progress. There's been years lost on this project and, the costs have grown and grown and grown tremendously.
Yeah.
Anyway, okay. And we're only talking about Court 3 anyway.
Yeah.
We've done 1 and 2. We've already done that.
Right, thank you, Ian. Yes, it is a concern. Right, Mumble Skate Park update. Do you want to take this, Kerry?
Yeah, I'm happy to take this one. So we've had 2 steering group meetings, and for those of you who don't know, the steering group was formed to basically do all the legwork of all the information that needs to come back to council for council to sign off. This is part of the grant condition with the National Lottery. So we've met twice, and there are items that will be coming forward to full council in November for formal agreement. There is no spend allocated to them because the spend was actually calculated within the grant applications that were put in. So the spend that's required for them items is already in the grant funding we've received. And they are working on skate park training and different initiatives in the background. The group consists of myself, Sarah, Pam, Carrie, Paul, and the
Jackie
Red
Rees-
Cafe.
Yeah.
Jackie Rees from Swansea, the Red Cafe, Youth
Uh,
Centre,
John Webb, the headmaster from
yeah,
Gray. And
Caroline from
Caroline,
Oystermouth.
Oystermouth,
Yeah,
yeah.
we
yeah.
did invite other people to come and join, but unfortunately they declined. We haven't had any involvement from the PCSOs yet, which was a bit disappointing. But again, I can only work with the people who actually accept and come to the meeting. So yeah, there will be an update coming to full council in November. Sarah, I don't know if there's anything you want to add.
No, it's funny in a way, because now we're in the position to have to prove to the lottery how popular the skate park is, and any of us that drive past at whatever time of the day, if it's dry, it's packed. So we know that it's being used and it's well loved, and we keep getting positive feedback. So it's all good. We just have to have someone stand there and count for a day, from what I gather, which is going to be fun. Yeah, but we'll get the information together, and we're going to do extra training for the children, safety training, which Kerry's arranging, aren't you, Kerry?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're ticking all the boxes that the lottery have asked us to tick, and when we have, we can sign off on it then and get the final amount of money for the skate park. So it's great. It's positive. It'll be good to put it to bed now. But thank you. I don't know if you want to add anything else to that, Kerry?
No,
Yeah.
I'm happy with that update.
Yeah, okie dokie. Anyone want to say anything? No? Okay. Other projects we've got as the last thing. I think we've kind of covered that, in our journey. So there we go. When did we say the next meeting would be, Ian?
The next meeting is on the 15th of November,
15th of November.
followed by the 6th of December.
15th of November and then 6th of December. Brilliant.
There was a bit of, Chair, just for you to know, I mean, perhaps Phil might be able to help me out at a later stage for this. Kerry created on Teams meetings for the tonight and other council meetings. When I went into it, I couldn't add a link which I needed. I had to create a new meeting. I did try, so perhaps.
Okay.
I mean, I don't know. We are having training with Amelia, and Phil kindly
Amelia
offered to help
Payne.
me.